I'm with the new 2026 CR-V TrailSport. Comes in hybrid only, and this is perfect because a couple weeks ago I had the new redesigned RAV4 in the new Woodland trim, which is a direct competitor to Honda's TrailSport. So I'm going to be able to break down how Honda's new TrailSport on the CR-V compares to Toyota's brand new off-roady trim, the Woodland. We're also going to take it to the gas station. We're going to fill it up to see what kind of fuel economy this hybrid only model, well, again, the TrailSport's hybrid only, you still have a turbo. Anyways, I'll get to that in a little bit. But we're gonna see what kind of fuel economy it gets and how that stacks up against the new RAV4's 5th gen hybrid. Ooh, it's gonna be a fun one today. Buckle up, grab your snacks and drinks, and let's go. Underneath the hood, we have Honda's 2-liter, 4-cylinder, dual motor hybrid system. The engine acts mainly as a generator here. On the highway. It can clutch in and help the electric motors propel this vehicle forward. And if you don't want the hybrid, the entry-level models, they have the 1.5 turbo mated to a CVT. I much prefer, there's no comparison to me, I much prefer the hybrid setups, and I'll explain why when we start driving. This is rated around 40 miles per gallon. Again, we'll take it to the gas station here shortly, fill it up, and see what I've actually been getting. I've put about 250 miles on it so far this week. Been doing some mix of highway as well as city driving. The TrailSport comes all-wheel drive standard, and I do like this. This is more of a premium thing here. Dual hood struts. We have this little damper here to make this engine very quiet, and by quiet is extraordinarily quiet when you drive this thing, and maybe a little bit of noise canceling, but regardless, it's a very nice experience. And also for 2026, one of the updates is Honda, whether it's the hybrid all-wheel drive or the turbo all-wheel drive, they improved the traction and the amount of torque sent to the rear wheels, okay? But nothing groundbreaking here, no major changes to the powertrains. Very handsome looking front end here. You got the daytime running lights on here. No fog lights. It's something that the RAV4 Woodland definitely has here. No parking sensors, something that the RAV4 also has in the Woodland. Okay, you got the cool TrailSport badge with that nice orange. I like the glossy black features. I like these being glossy black. If you look at like touring trim here on the CR-V, I think these are more of a different color. I think that these look real good, and I like the little silver garnish here at the bottom. Front end of the CR-V looks pretty darn good to me. Now this is the new ash green metallic. This is a TrailSport only color. It debuted on this vehicle's bigger brother, the Passport, earlier in 2025. We got 18-inch glossy or shark gray finish wheels here. They look pretty good. All-terrain tires, and typically with all-terrain tires, they have a tendency to be loud on the road. Not these. These are very quiet. Okay, gloss black mirrors. We got turn indicators here, which is great. We have gloss black door handles. Now we do have a roof rail system, but without the crossbars. Now I didn't mention the blacked out window surround, which is pretty sharp with that glossy black. Now there's so many blacked out features. The Honda badge is not blacked out. I'm sure that's an accessory. All-wheel drive is well, just a sticker, but it kind of reminds me of the 1st gen CR-V with that all-wheel drive sticker. They did black out the CR-V badge down here as well as the hybrid badge. TrailSport badge looking pretty sharp as well. Now let me turn on the rear taillights so you can see that. Okay, here are the brake lights as well. Here is the reverse lights again, and my goodness, that pedestrian warning noise is the most obnoxious pedestrian warning noise in the entire industry. Okay, sorry for the beeps. This vehicle is so strange. It's so loud. It's incredibly loud under 23 miles an hour, or when you're in reverse, it like quadruples the noise. I thought hybrids and electric cars were supposed to be quieter, but I get that they're required to have a pedestrian warning noise. No Tesla's this loud, all right? No other car that I can think of is as loud. Some are annoying, like the Hummer EV, that is loud and annoying. This is ultra loud. Like, I can't stress how loud this vehicle is. It is going to be the loudest production car, or the loudest car I've ever tested, especially in reverse. Like, it is insane how loud Honda has made that, you know, alien angelic noise come down. We still have incandescent bulbs for the turn signals, but the D-pillar taillights look great. And let's go ahead and open this up. Also, real exhaust here, dummy exhaust over here. Doesn't really bother me because I think it looks pretty good, but just keep that in mind. That's going to bother a lot of people, or some people out there. Tons of cargo capacity. Let's bring you in closer. I mean, this is just massive amount of cargo capacity. I like the carpet here. It feels fairly premium. Can I not lift this up? Does that mean I don't have a spare tire either? But it doesn't look like I have a spare tire here on the CR-V. That is worrisome. What's in here? Okay, oh, I don't have a spare tire because there's my Fix-A-Flat kit. So we have this TrailSport model without a spare tire. That's gonna really tick some people off. And I'm pretty sure the RAV4 had a spare tire. We have 180 watt, 12 volt back here. If you look at the RAV4 Woodland, again, it's direct competitor, that has a 1500 watt AC power outlet that you can just plug in your accessories included. All right, so yeah, and the RAV4 Woodland also has mats back here, like real rugged mats that even go on the seat backs. So another win for that RAV4. But let's go ahead and close this and get on the back seat. All right, let's move these booster seats. This has been my steed this week, taking the kids to school. Now we have a cloth interior. I like it. I like the breathability of cloth quite a bit. If you look at the RAV4 Woodland, that has more of a synthetic material, and it's not even perforated. So honestly, I do like these cloth seats quite a bit, but that's just me. Some people would rather have more of a vinyl or a leather finish. It's hard touch here at the top, really cheap materials, to be honest. Armrests are pretty, well, there is a soft touch there, but they are pretty hard. We do have all-weather mat that goes across the back, and pretty flat floor here, 2 USB-Cs. We have vents, standard sunroof here, a little light above, good headroom. Can these seats recline? And the answer is yes. That's pretty far back there. Oh, let's bring it forward. And oh my gosh, this might have multiple levels of recline. So that's pretty cool. I think the RAV4 only has 2 levels. So slight win there for a little bit for, you know, customizing your seats here. All right, and cup holders here in the armrest. All right, 1 mat pocket in the back, and let's go ahead into the front. Pretty good door slam, to be honest. Materials are a little bit better here in the front, soft finishes, but it is a bit basic. All right, meaning, well, it's soft-ish materials, but there's no crazy designs going on, and some people might like that. There's nothing really to distract you. And there, like, even though this is a slightly reflective material, it's darker and it's dimpled, so I've never really had any major issues with this material blinding me. So in terms of just living with this interior, and I have a power seat here and a manual seat over here, by the way, this has been an amazing interior, one of the best from an ergonomic experience. So the materials, hit or miss. You know, hard touch here where your knees running into and stuff, even here on the door. But comfort's been good in here. But ease of use is like, this is the easiest car to just get in and drive. Hondas are typically like this. Look at this, fan control, okay? It's right off the shifter. Boom, I don't even have to look. Don't even have to look, all right? Engine just fired on because I fired up the climate control. Temperature control is a rotary dial. Heated seats, no ventilated seats. That's okay because they're cloth. I don't need ventilated seats right here. Wireless charger on this trim. I want to say it's standard now across the lineup. I could be wrong. But what has been upgraded for this 26 model year is this new screen. And look at this. Look how simple this is. That's it. That's it. Now, the only thing I've changed with this screen is if I go to general settings and I go to sound volume. Okay, this was pretty annoying. Like, these clicks are standard when you get in here. So anything you click, pretty annoying, right? And I'm like, where's this beep? Well, you just turn down the system sounds and that's it. That's all I've done. Okay, now I can't, this doesn't have, you know, the top end sound system, which I believe is a Bose. It doesn't have that. You'd have to get the top trim, the Sport Touring trim. But I really haven't been listening to music this week, and I'm sure the sound system is pretty much on par, I would say, with the Toyota. So absolutely perfect. Volume knob, boom, right there. Would I prefer a bigger volume knob? Yeah, but I'm not going to complain because I have volume knob. I have physical climate control, real buttons. Look how easy defrost is. 2 USB-Cs here too, by the way. Traditional shifter, which there's a B mode here, and this B mode allows a little bit more regen braking. That's something I really like here compared to Toyota's hybrid. Even though they have an all-new hybrid system, the Toyota, they haven't given it, you know, customizable regen. I have paddle shifter regen here that I really, really like. All right, and I have fun changing the different levels of regen. Okay, it's not a deal breaker, but it's just something I enjoy. It gives me a little bit more interaction with this powertrain, which would otherwise be a complete snooze fest. Efficient, smooth, but snoozy. Okay, look at this. Vent control, perfect. Absolute perfect vent control. Location of the vents is perfect. Okay, they're not too low because the screen's too big like Honda. Absolute grand slam with the controls. The screen behind the steering wheel, by the way, it's a 10-inch screen. I have no issues with it. You can barely customize it, and that's perfect with me. I just want the metrics that I need. And what are those metrics? Well, unfortunately, the driver, or should I say the hybrid monitor, is pretty bad here. It doesn't even tell me battery charge. I think you would have to go to the top trims to get that built into the touchscreen, but honestly, I haven't missed it. Okay, because Honda includes a little battery gauge on the far end over here. I'll take a snapshot for you guys to see the battery gauge. So that's all I need to know. And then the little EV icon at the bottom lets me know if the engine's on or off. Again, the engine never powers the wheel unless you're on the highway going fast, probably 60 plus miles an hour. So the engine is either on or off. You really don't know in this car 99% of the time, especially if you have radio going or you're having a conversation. The powertrain, or you don't even realize this car has an engine most of the time. All right, steering wheel is fantastic. Real physical buttons, volume control here, but I haven't needed to mess with it because I have a volume knob. Again, paddle shifters, even like the switch gear feels nice. So I talk about how the materials, but everything your hands actually touch is what matters. And that, like, your blinker has a nice clickiness to it and a nice heft. Same thing with your windshield wiper. Okay, heated steering wheel on this trim, which so does the RAV4 Woodland, for example. All right, I have auto up and down, but it's only the front windows. I believe the RAV4 is all the windows, not that big of a deal. A little ambient lighting here on the door handles and the wireless charger area, but I think that's about it. And we also have the Trailsport mats up here in the front, all right? But that's about it in terms of breaking down the interior. There's not a lot. Simple software, that's what I want. It's easy to use, not a lot of thought prod, no clunkiness going. There's zero clunkiness. And I don't mean that from a material aspect, I mean that from an interaction and operational aspect. All right, just perfect, absolute perfection when it comes to controls. All right, so let's buckle up. Oh yeah, I do have cup holders here and a big cargo space, but cup holders in a good spot too, by the way. Like, this interior layout and controls is just great. And then you put it in reverse and you're like, why is it so loud? It's smooth, but why is it so loud? All right, let's go for a drive and talk about what this thing is like to live with. Oh, there's a big hawk in my yard. I've seen him before. He's like doing a dance on something. He probably is just playing with a dead rat or something. You guys know. The clock is telling me 39 miles per gallon this week, which I think is pretty good. Now, highway's not going to be as good. I saw it closer to about 37 miles per gallon. So just keep that in mind. I was going pretty fast. And speaking of highway, I'm not going to take it on the highway, but I was on the highway for 2 hours picking up my parents from the Punta Gorda airport. It is so good on the highway, and it is a lot better than the RAV4, a lot better than the RAV4. It's much quieter. I don't know if it's just because there's more insulation here. There's way less wind noise, but there's less like annoying wind buffeting that you have on the RAV4 at highway speed. So it's a better highway mile muncher and a better road trip car than I would say the RAV4. And it's not really close. Like, this is a better on the highway. In town, it's about identical, all right, in terms of like NVH. Once you go over 55, the Honda has the edge though in terms of NVH. Ride quality in the CR-V has been like really good, honestly, like fantastic. Really happy with how smooth this vehicle rides. And the handling here, well, I don't have a lot of turns, but when I am able to take it at speed through a turn, the CR-V is fantastic. The heft of the steering is really really nice. I don't know what else to say. It's kind of Mazda-like with the heft of the steering. We got the drag meter out here. We're gonna do the old-fashioned 0 to 60. This does have drive modes. There's sport, normal, econ, and snow. We'll put it in sport mode, give it the old brake boost, and then I'll put on the screen how it compares to the RAV4 once we're done, and go. So 0 to 60 there in 7.3 seconds, which is in the same ballpark as the RAV4. RAV4, I want to say, is maybe like 7.5 seconds, something like that. Honestly, though, 0 to 60 is going to favor Honda's hybrids because it has 247 pound-feet of torque, 204 horsepower. Like, horsepower, it's down about 32 horsepower to the RAV4, and you notice it anytime you need to pass. Okay, if you need to pass, the RAV4 has way better passing capability. The CR-V is better from a stop, only because I brake boost. If I didn't brake boost there, it probably wouldn't have been as impressive. So, to be honest, numbers aren't everything. The RAV4 and its 5th gen hybrid is far more of a lively powertrain. It's definitely faster in real world applications and passing power and passing maneuvers. It's faster. Doesn't mean the CR-V is a slouch, but if you go like 50% throttle to pass, this is fine. If you go 100% throttle to pass, it's actually sometimes not as enjoyable because the engine has to fire on, then it yells at you, and then it takes off. So it's like this delay if you want to give it 100% throttle when you pass someone. And that's been an issue with Honda's hybrids for a while, okay, with at least this generation of hybrids. So 0 to 60 in 7.3 seconds, I think it's fine. Again, handling is just sublime for its class. I would say it feels a little bit smoother than the Mazda. The Mazda is a little bit more character in the turns, but Honda overall has the most refinement in the class, okay, in terms of driving characteristics. The brakes feel really smooth, linear, and have a nice like feedback to them, a nice girthy pedal. I don't know if that's the right term. The steering is accurate and has nice feedback. It's just, you know, from a handling, steering, and braking experience, it's top of class. But the powertrain, even though from a noise aspect, it's top of class, from a driving like enthusiast perspective, it's like not very good compared to Hyundai hybrids or even Toyota's hybrid. All right, now you can't really game this like Honda's hybrids for better fuel economy other than maybe just driving a little bit slower. You know, you can do the pulse and glide stuff with the Toyota hybrids. Toyota hybrids, the engine is always available to actually chip in with propulsion to the front wheels. That only happens here on the highway, and then, like, you know, you can't really game the system on the highway, all right, unless you just go slower. And here, and this is what I found out with like the Civic hybrid too, you can't really maximize fuel economy other than just driving slower. There's no transmission to work through, even though at times it mimics gears if you give it mild acceleration. But you go full acceleration, like I showed you earlier, just pegs it at like max RPMs, all right, and it sounds pretty bad. But if you do mild acceleration, it kind of simulates gears, and that's kind of entertaining. All right, so let's go here. You know, mild press of the throttle, it does really, really well. But it's just not very, there's nothing you can do to really interact with the engine other than regen braking, okay? And that has its own merits, but that's all it comes down to deceleration. When it comes to acceleration or fuel economy, it's just kind of, you're gonna get what you're gonna get, and no matter what you do, really you're not gonna get much better fuel economy. As long as you're not flooring it every way, your fuel economy is gonna be about the same as everyone else, okay? So it's hard to explain, but you're pretty much just locked in at the fuel economy for your area and your climate. and there's nothing you're going to be able to do to improve fuel economy. And like, even using the same methods I use on Toyota hybrids to get really good fuel economy, I still can't use those same methods here and get way above EPA estimates. Doing those things on Toyota hybrids like the RAV4, I got 46 miles per gallon on the Woodland, okay, by gaming that hybrid, coasting in EV mode, being easy on the powertrain, etc. Here, it's just, you don't know if the engine's working, you don't know if if the engine's on or off, other than just looking at the EV icon. Okay, even when coasting EV, you can't tell. Like, it's a quieter experience, but not as engaging and not as rewarding of an experience. Okay, it's just refined so much that there's no character to this powertrain other than the regen braking. And even at a stop here, I'm glad I came to a stop because this has been annoying me. Even if you put it into neutral, it still has the UFO sound. You have to put it into park for that sound to go away. All right, so even just sitting here idle, it's louder than a gas car because you have that synthetic noise coming in. It's just, oh my gosh, I did just get blinded for the first time this week right here. That is unfortunate. The only I said that there wasn't reflective points, but it's of course right here at the bottom of the steering wheel. And that reminds me, when I was test driving this vehicle in California, I got blinded by the same spot. Okay, that is unfortunate here. I might have, if I own this car, I might have to cover that in tape or something because it is obnoxiously bright. I have spots in my eyes right now due to the blindy aluminum plastic here. All right, we made it to the gas station though. Made it to the gas station, and it's time to fill up the old CR Vizzle. What kind of fuel economy are we gonna get? The clock is telling me 38.8. Let's fill her up and we'll finish this out. All right, 257 miles divided by 6.748. That's 38 miles per gallon. 38 miles per gallon, it's telling me 38.8. That's within less than 1 mile per gallon estimate. That's pretty good that it estimated like that. So 38 miles per gallon. Now keep in mind, that's a bit of mixed driving. And to be fair to this vehicle, the RAV4 was slightly more city driving. I didn't drive it for as long or as fast on the highway as this. Regardless, I still got 46 miles per gallon, which is a lot better than the 38 miles per gallon here. Okay, so let's say you're doing mostly city driving in the RAV4. It's going to be about close to that, over 45 miles per gallon. If you're doing highway, it'll be closer to about 40 miles per gallon, which is still going to beat out the 38 combined. 38 combined that I see here. And it's about true 50-50 city to highway driving here. It's great fuel economy. It's not stupendous fuel economy. Okay, it's not 40 plus miles per gallon and more power that you get in the RAV4. So the Toyota's hybrid powertrain is more efficient, more powerful, just not quite as quiet, all right, as this Honda powertrain. And the RAV4's powertrain is a little bit more fun, even though that doesn't have regen braking. All right, let's head into the office and let's give the old CR-V TrailSport a grade. The most desirable trims to me has always been the Sport Hybrid, the entry level. It provides the best fuel economy, especially in front-wheel drive. It doesn't get too expensive. Unlike, the TrailSport, I think is cool, but the TrailSport's been outdone and outclassed by the new RAV4 Woodland. All right, that's why I'm like, I think I'd rather just have the Sport Hybrid than the TrailSport. If I want something more woodsy, I'm getting the RAV4 Woodland. Okay, and the RAV4 Woodland only cost about $1,100 more. It has a 360 camera, parking sensors. It has AC power outlet in the back. It has a roof rack, has fog lights. It has 3 times plus the towing capacity, more horsepower, and better fuel economy. I mean, if it's only $1,100, then it's a no-brainer. Now the CR-V does some things better, but it's not nearly enough to pick that over. Oh, and did I mention parking sensors. I did. I mentioned the parking sensors on the front and the back of the Woodland. Okay. And not present at all. Nor 360 is like I already just laid it out. So the TrailSport, it's really hard for me to recommend now that there is a much better option in the RAV4 Woodland. The CR-V Sport Hybrid is, I think, the best buy, and you can get them for the least amount of money. Now, $35K, I'm seeing discounts down to about $1,500 off of MSRP. I think that's a really good buy for such a smooth, quiet, efficient, and, you know, utilitarian vehicle as the CR-V. So what are the pros of the CR-V? Something that it does better than the RAV4? Well, it's a little bit smoother. The engine is most of the time completely out of the equation. It's very quiet powertrain. It's a better highway car than a RAV4. It has great ride quality overall, good handling, like really impressive handling. It's really quiet at highway speeds. Well, I wouldn't say really quiet, but much quieter than the RAV4. It's spacious, has elite controls, easy to use software, great safety. All right. Now the cons, pretty cheap materials, soulless powertrain. While it is smooth, quiet, and refined, like it just exists and it gets the job done. There's no gaming of it to get better fuel economy. It doesn't have really that much top end power. I think it would benefit from having all-wheel drive to make it lighter. It might sacrifice maybe some of the handling and the acceleration out of a turn having all-wheel drive. But we know Honda's actually moving to all-wheel drive with their next-gen hybrids, so not a surprise there. The pedestrian warnings, guys, the going forwards and backwards is just unbelievably loud. The loudest cars, I think, on the road. All right, from the factory. Like, they're louder than Hemi, like big V8 vehicles. Like, it's just obnoxious how loud the CR-V hybrid is, which is crazy. Is a hybrid. You'd think, oh, it's super quiet. Yeah, it's quiet on the inside. Don't put it in reverse. Even on the inside, you're going to hear it. Hard armrest, which kind of is linked to cheap materials on the inside. And it's not as equipped nearly as well as its rivals for the same price point or within a very similar price point. It doesn't have anywhere near the same equipment. I struggle to put the CR-V TrailSport anything higher than A tier. I rated the RAV4 Woodland S tier, and maybe that's because I prioritize fuel economy, overall acceleration, and a little bit more of a game. Hybrids to me should be able to be gamed, meaning, hey, if you don't put pedal down all the time, you should be able to minimize how much the engine is in use. Well, the CR-V, it's just like, no matter what you do, it just kind of behaves the same. You don't really get any feedback of really what's going on with the engine unless your foot's all the way down. And even then, the performance is okay. It's good. It's not great, all right, for its class. And its its fuel economy is good, really good, but not class leading. I really appreciate the CR-V for its refinement and its driving characteristics. I really appreciate that, but it just falls short for the money. If Honda included a 360 camera with the TrailSport parking sensors, the RAV4 just does so many things better, and the CR-V does a lot of things better than the RAV4, but it's not enough in my opinion. I would still take the RAV4 Woodland over this model, okay? Even though it's a little bit louder, especially on the highway, the RAV4 is. So it just depends on what your needs are. You're doing long miles on the highway, well, the CR-V is quieter, but the fuel economy is not going to be as good. I think for most people, and if you're doing more rugged, woodsy stuff, I think the RAV4 is better, even though the CR-V has, on paper, more sophisticated all-wheel drive with a mechanical linkage there. Neither of them are going to be like crushing it at Moab or anything like that. CR-V TrailSport, it's a really good car. And if you can get it for $2 to $3 grand less than a RAV4 Woodland, if you're watching this and both of them are available, then maybe pick the CR-V. All right. So just really depends on what you prioritize. You get this luxurious experience with having the smoothness from the powertrain, the ride quality, the handling, but then you have really pedestrian materials. Okay. And not really good equipment for the price point. Okay. So it's kind of, there's too much compromise to me to put it up into S tier. It's close. It's really close, but it needs to hit hit on more of its swings. You know, maybe it's batting 350 and then the RAV4 is batting like 375. All right, I got to shut it down. Stupid comparisons and metaphors, but let's end it there. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. If you don't need all-wheel drive, just get the sport front-wheel drive, and I think most of you would be happy, and you can get them for, let's say, $5,000 less than a TrailSport. Okay, and I don't feel like I'd be missing any. Yeah, maybe a heated steering wheel or something, but I could live without it. Well, obviously down here in Florida. So thank you guys. Catch you in the next one. The CR-V, it's still fantastic. It's a really excellent purchase. There's a little too many of these cons for me that is keeping it back from, top of the class. So well done, Honda. It's still fantastic. And I'll see you guys in the comments. Appreciate you. And I can't wait to start filling this list out. I've started with 2 bangers, right? The CX-90 and the CR-V TrailSport. Both fantastic cars, obviously in completely different segments, but both fantastic, both fun to drive too. Thank you guys. Catch you in the next one, and peace.